Okay, so I'm going to be sewing the cup together with the overlock machine, which is also called a serger. And the only reason I'm doing that is because this is a stretch fabric, and when I'm actually putting this over the cup itself, over the molded cup, I don't want my threads to snap, so this just gives me a little flexibility. If you're not working with a knit fabric, if you're not working for swim, then definitely use a straight stitch machine. Okay, let's turn it on. So make sure that you have them all lined up and that you have them in the correct orientation. Now, your middle piece could look a little bit different. Yours may end up being a little bit wider on one side than the other, so they're not going to look all identical to this, and your top cups are also going to look a little different. Okay. We have 1/4 inch seam allowance, which means that we do not want to cut anything off. So this also means that we need to line them up to get them in the machine right. So Emily, can you do me a favor and get me a pin? Just one pin. No, just get me one pin. Okay, fine. So what I want to do is I want to, because these knits stretch, move all over the place, I'm going to put them together with that pin and get it all the way up to where that needle is, and then start. Okay, and then I'm just going to, now they should walk together beautifully. You're welcome to kind of hand base them in together, and I would start at the front. There may be a little bit extra over here, and that is really just to kind of help you, you know, there should be no ease in the cup. So it's starting at the front of the cup, so at the center front will help. And I know so yeah, mine's a little bit longer. I kind of figured this one would be. And you also want to make sure that you have an even feed on your machine. And this one's stretched, so it should be fine. Looks like my bottom might have pulled a little bit. So we're gonna go to this one now. Oops. Make sure we get that started. Again, get my right up to the front. Turn it over, it goes that way. What are you doing, Emily? Don't get in the way of the camera. So it could have been my cutting, because I did cut everything out together, but as you can see, mine's a little bit bigger on both. It's by the same amount on both of them, so it's most likely a cutting issue. Okay, can you get me my nippers right there? Okay. Yep, okay. So that looks like that one. This one is over here. Make sure you don't get them mixed up, because all the pieces do match appropriately. Okay, where did that pin go? Oh, I did put it in there. Okay, so now this one is where it's a little bit tricky, and I would actually say these ones should walk. I think the top cup is the only one that might have a little bit of leeway.
What does leeway mean?
It means that there might be a little bit of room for error. But for this one, because we have this big curve, I'm actually going to take and pin it at the beginning and at the end, and then kind of make sure that everything fits between there. And it should. So got my pin in there, moved it under, get my stitches. Okay. And so you can even try and kind of walk it around the curve and find about the halfway point. That's about the halfway point there. So because I'm working with a stretch, I can actually kind of force them to go straight. And the swim fabric's a lot different to work with than any other cup fabric. And there's some people who absolutely hate swim, and I used to be one of those until I understood how to really work with it. I remember my swim project when I was in school was like my biggest nightmare. Okay, so there we go. 1 cup down. Let's get this one. So this goes to there. 1 more to go. So again, I pin here at the front, pin at the back, and I do have some other videos that are on actually sewing with cup fabric, so it's a little bit treated a little bit different, and you won't be using the overlock for that except for like the last bits and pieces. Okay, I just drop the pin down. Okay, so I'm going to find kind of the middle of that cup, which is right about there, and I'm going to kind of stretch and force these pieces straight against each other. I am doing a fair bit of manipulation of the fabric. As I said, hand stitching it first might help you out a whole lot, especially with the swim. Okay.
But you don't do hand stitching?
I don't.
You just don't like to?
No, I just don't feel like I need to. Okay, so we're done with the overlock for right now. We were going to come back to the overlock in order to sew the elastics and stuff on, but everything between now and the elastic part is going to be on the straight stitch. Okay, so the next step we'll be doing is we'll be attaching them to the molded cups. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lining it up with the right side facing the wrong side of the cup. So, and we have about 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top. So this one you are going to want to pin. And just kind of walk it around the edge. So this line's right up to the edge. And so you see that there was a 1 inch or 1/2 inch, or like about a 12 millimeter seam allowance. Well, that is because of the flipping that we'll be doing to clean finish the neckline. Okay, so this is fine. We need that. We need to have 1/4 inch at that end. So what we're going to do here is we start with that 1/4 inch over here. And we walk this along the edge.
How do you know that it's 1/4 inch?
Because I made the pattern. That's how I know it's 1/4 inch.
Oh.
Can you see the light? Okay. Did you record it? Is it recording?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Can you see? Is there enough light on this in this area? In there? Look in the camera.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
A
A lot of light. Okay.
Enough light.
Okay. So we're gonna now sew at 1/4 inch, and I actually have a new tool, a new foot. Is this the one? It's not the 1/4. Got these. It's an 1/8. That's a. Come on, I just had it. There is this. No, that's not it. That's a 1/4 in the wrong direction. No, is that the 1/4? It's an 1/8. I'm people picking up the same ones, aren't I? Okay. It's not it. That's a roller foot. Where did the foot go that I got? That's the wrong size. Okay, can you pull these out, honey? I need to find the 1/4 inch. Yep, there's the 1/4 inch. Okay. So I got these new ones. They're kind of like these cool kind of gauge ones. It'll just help me. And I also got this. Of course, that's kind of a, so you can tell they're made in China. So they're cool, but they're not 100% awesome. So, okay, we're gonna then come along, and I'm gonna use kind of the edge here to and hopefully you can see because I'm doing the white thread. And you see this foot is definitely cool. It's keeps me at that 1/4. Okay. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Right sides together. I guess I'll figure out if I just did this backwards. Pretty sure I did it right.
Right sides together, and then you flip it inside out.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Nippers, go grab my nippers, please.
I will, Mommy.
Thank you. And this is a pin cushion I made for I showed how my students to do it. So if you want to learn how to make this, just watch my kids' videos on making the pin cushion. Okay, so I'm going to detach those.
It's a pumpkin pin cushion.
A pumpkin pin cushion.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're just going to roll this over. And then as you're kind of stretching this around, you want to figure out what direction you want your seams to be. We could have done stitching on it, but I'm not. I'm pushing my seams down and then just kind of pulling it. And because I'm working with the stretch, it should actually have a little bit of flexibility. Did I do the wrong cup on this? Because this sure looks like it's a... Did I stretch it too much? I stretched it too much.
Did it even have a stretch?
Should have a stretch. I'm not sure why this is not doing this. I might have grabbed the wrong wire lines because this one's definitely not working. Okay, I will go back and double check the pattern. I think it just, the fabric has stretched. Emily, stop, okay? We do need to make some adjustments to this. So, what I would do is let's try and smooth the center of the cup down. And we can make these changes because what the different cups do is that they adjust the wire line a little bit. So here my wire line's a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking here, kind of like where it would need to be in order for that to fit right. And then this side actually seems okay. I think I can keep that. This little bit here, well, I'm not sure why that's there. It's probably from my stretching and sewing. Okay, so I'm just going to take out a tiny little bit. I'm not even going to unsew anything. I'm basically coming in here so you can see where I pinned it. I'm going to come in with my finger right about there. And I'm just going to sew. So take it in a little bit. So where that is. So you can see there is ways to fix things. I said I will double check that that is the correct size. You can see that now that fits. It's going to cause a little bit of bulk there, so let's push those down. Okay, Emily, if you can't sit straight and not sit upside down, you cannot sit here. Okay, it's very, very distracting while I'm trying to do a tutorial. Okay, do you understand? Huh? Well, then go to your bedroom if you're going to go to sleep. But what you're doing right now is very rude, especially for people who are watching this video and trying to learn what I'm doing and how to fix something when they encounter something that is not correct. Okay? Okay, so I need you to be quiet. Okay, so as you can see, that looks nice there. It's that little fix corrected that. Since I've actually got this all pinned around now, I'm actually just going to go around and stitch right on the edge of the cup. So just kind of stitching it right on the edge, pull out my pins as I'm going. Come on, go! So I'm right on that edge. Emily, please stop it. You're making too much noise. I don't want to have to reshoot this. You already said you didn't want to reshoot this. So I'm just going around the cup. So this will hold everything in place on the one. And then I'm going to come to this other one. So I'm going to do the same thing. I may not have the same type of corrections I have to do. So we'll check. We'll see, we'll push the seams going down. The seams going down. And looks like, yeah, we have a little bit of an adjustment to do. So I'm not sure if that's just from my cutting because working with the knit. I will double check to make sure that I do have the right label on it. But even if it is incorrect, well, like we did before on the other one, we're pull that down so that's fitting nice around the neckline. And this one actually looks like it's got an even bigger. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh. So we go from the middle of the cup down. So stretching. And the more your fabric, the stretchier your fabric is, the more it's probably going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so we've got that there. We'll pull that over here. Okay, so we've got some over here. So I'm just going to take kind of a look to see how much we changed. We'll change that right about to this point. So I'm just going to grab my fabric on the fold right there. And I think that will probably be enough. So let me take out some of these pins. Figure out exactly where it is I need to fix it. And then come in and just stitch that cup. And some cups are a lot easier to do. They're a lot easier to adjust, like this one is, because of all the curves. It makes it easier to adjust to fit a wire line. Okay. Coming back. There we go. Okay. All seams facing downwards. Push them down. And so had I done any top stitches right now, that actually would have been more difficult to make this adjustment. So if you do plan to do a top stitch, try covering it first to make sure that this fits nicely around before you go and start, before you go and do your top stitch. Okay, so it looks like that looks pretty good. The bottom curves is not as pretty as the top one. Probably just my sewing, but this is one of the reasons why I'm not crazy about swim fabric. But okay, that looks a lot better. I'm going to go around the edges and just do my edge stitch. I apologize for my daughter. She is, well, as you all know, we are all in this situation together, and she is just antsy. She starts school tomorrow, virtually, so I'm hoping that her having some interaction and some scheduled things to do will actually make everyone's life easier, so I can get back to doing all the rest of these videos that I actually need to do for the tutorials, because okay. So we can take all my pins out. We can set those to the side, but the cups are ready to go. Now what I would like to do is we're going to sew these. Now this could be a little bit tricky. So we're going to do with our right sides together and the piece of, what do you call it, stabilizer on there. And again, we're going to sew this at, I'm not doing any back stitch because it's just too much to deal with. Okay, so right sides together with, actually this stabilizer stuff looks like it's going through my machine really easy, much easier than the knit, the spandex. So, come on, I know, Jennifer Pin. Okay, I will. So yes, my stitching is very, very ugly, but that is fine. It's how it looks when it's finished, which is what's important. This is definitely ugly stitching. Oh. No, don't eat my fabric. You know, I'd probably even be fine had I just wanted to use a piece of elastic to go through this, but I thought purple might be nice. So that is an option for doing this little bridge piece, is that you can just use a piece of elastic. It doesn't have to be a fancy pattern piece like this. So we're going to flip this right side out. And then we put this through. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Okay. That is pretty thick. What's that? Kind of find it right in the middle, so we can then attach this into the cups. So, not super pretty, but it works like that. Okay, let's get this ugly mess over here done. And I'm sure now that you're looking at this, you're like, wow, I could have made that pattern piece a whole lot different and it would have worked a lot better. And that is so true. And honestly, had I actually taken a little bit more time on this, you'd probably get a much better result. I love sewing, but I don't love sewing. So sometimes I want to make something, but I don't want to do things the correct way. So sometimes I do things the quick way. Ow, I just stabbed myself. No blood, please, no blood. Okay, I think I found it in the middle. Just going to straighten that out. Okay, there we go. Got that side done too. This side actually looks a little bit better than the other. So that is our bridge. We can then take it apart. Ooh, how's it going? Oh, no, it goes in. Oh, like that. And then, so we've got that piece is all ready. So What we know is that we need to attach this about 3/4 of an inch from the edge, and we aren't going to use the whole edge. I know it's further away from the cup, and that's totally fine. What I'd say is let's come we're going to trim this down just a little bit so you have about a 3/8 of an inch of fabric hanging off the edge. Okay, so 3/8, 10 millimeter hanging off the edge. Come on. Okay, don't deal with the armhole yet. That's fine the way it is. So definitely how I pulled it around the cup made it look a little different all the way around, but it's okay. I'm gonna give this one to my sister anyways. Should be about her size. Okay, so once you've got about 3/8 of an inch all the way around, we can then attach this. So I needed to have a little bit of space at the top. So I'm just going to stitch this right to the edge just so everything is attached. I'm not even back stitching right now because I need to make sure that everything is going to look okay. And so I'm going to do this. I lost my foot. Need to visually look at this, make sure that they look like they're in about the right spot. So they're about halfway through that purple piece. I think that's fine. Once we get the casing on there, it'll get a little bit closer to where we're going. Thanks for watching. If you would like to have more content like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment below. Thank you very much.